Hi everyone! So the Diablo 4 server slam is coming up this weekend, and with it the opportunity to earn the Cry of Ashava mount trophy that you can see here, that you can actually use when the game launches. Now, I don't expect that a lot of you guys will have a lot of time to actually play this weekend, so I want to give you some tips on how to beat Ashava, which is seemingly a very dangerous boss. For every successful Ashara defeat in the beta, Ashava actually managed to defeat 95 players every single time. So that is a pretty high death count, and let's try to make that a bit better, even though things are getting more difficult this time. Compared to the previous open beta, a few of the OP builds got nerfed, such as the Lightning Sword, and we're also limited to only level 20 instead of level 25. But Ashava itself doesn't actually scale down. It has a minimum level of 25 itself. So this means no matter what, you are going to be underpowered against Ashava, and if you want to earn this mount trophy, then you will have to try a little bit harder. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen or heard about my almost solo Ashava kill back in the open beta when I was playing here with my poison rapid fire rogue, and there was simply no one else around here on hardcore on veteran difficulty. Now, good news is you don't have to do it on hardcore, and you don't have to do it on veteran difficulty. You can actually do it on the first difficulty. Outside of that though, I also want to give you some tips on how to actually avoid the mechanics of the encounter, because your healing is generally limited. Unless you bring some healing of your own, for example druids with blood howl or barbarians with their shouts and these kind of things, you don't really get a lot of healing potions, and essentially every single ability will most likely nearly or even entirely one-shot you if you don't press your potions. Ashava usually does a lot of poison damage, so having poison resistance on your items, for example the rings in particular, or maybe wherever you can roll it, might be really helpful. Maybe even a poison resistance elixir, because this is like the one main damage type that Ashava deals. The Ashava encounter is generally rather scripted, and in my opinion there are 5 special moves that you have to be aware of and try to avoid as much as possible because they deal heavy damage. So number 1 is this jump here. So you can see that Ashava just sometimes randomly jumps into a certain direction. It doesn't actually target a specific player or anything, because as you can see I'm alone here and Ashava just jumps away from me. But this jump actually deals pretty massive damage on impact as far as I'm aware. So if you see this jumping animation with Ashava leaning back and then basically making like a frog animation to jump, you want to try to evade or teleport out of that landing location. So pay attention to where Ashava turns and then proceeds to jump to. Next up, we have the 360-degree swing. You can see this with this animation where Ashava lifts the left arm first to the right of herself, and then she proceeds doing this full circle animation with the left arm and then the follow-up with the right arm. Here's the same one in slow motion from a different angle, and you can see it's exactly the same animation. It's always the left arm first, and this allows you to actually get into safety very early and very easily. The only thing you have to do to actually avoid this animation is stand right under her. So you can see this here, when you are standing basically right behind her back, she cannot hit you with her wide arm swings from any direction. Of course, if you're a ranged character or Ashava has just before that jumped away from you, then you could also just outrange it, but I think a lot of people underestimate the actual range, like the radius of this attack. It hits the entire screen, and this is with the zoomed out camera on the Ashava fight. So be aware that this actually goes extremely far. Third, we have this double ground slam with the slice backwards, this animation here. This is also a quite dangerous run, but also relatively easy to avoid. It has a rather small radius, so if you're at range already, you can easily just like sidestep it. But if you're a melee character, you can also try to stand between Ashava's legs to not get hit by this at all. So you can see this here. If you stand exactly in the middle between the two arms as they slide backwards, you will not get hit. But if you sidestep this a little bit too much, then you might get hit and you get a pretty nasty poison debuff. So you gotta be aware of this. It's much safer to sidestep it like away from the boss, but if you feel confident that you can actually stay exactly in the center, you will be safe. Here's the same move again, but with me in a better position to just sidestep a little bit and I'm safe. But sometimes, especially as a meta character, you can try to stand exactly in the center. Fourth, we have the bite. So this one is actually also pretty dangerous. It does a lot of damage and also gives you a nasty poison debuff. So you can see this here with this snap animation that Ashava does. And it has like this glowing green poisonous mouth animation as well. So this is how you can identify it. And you have to be pretty fast to react to this. But usually before Ashava bites, she will like at least walk up a little bit to the target to try to actually be in melee range to attack with the bite. And sometimes she can do it multiple times in a row. So even if you sidestep it once, you might have to sidestep it again. But a simpler wait or even just a few steps walking will make it safe for you. You just have to be aware that this is a pretty fast animation and you want to be kind of on the move when Ashava is not doing anything else and you're close to her mouth. Here's the same animation from another angle again. You can see Ashava walking up to me and I know the bite is coming and I dash away. So this is how I can stay safe from this ability. And lastly comes her Poison Spit. This is also a pretty dangerous ability and it's very fast, so it's relatively difficult to dodge, as you can see here. So similar to the bite, the main clue for this ability again is the direction that Ashava is facing, so you always want to pay attention to that, even at range. So you see, she turns towards me, then leans back and spits out the poison cloud in front of it. And this one moves really fast. So instead of walking up to me to bite me, she can also do that at range at a targeted location towards the player. Most of the other abilities are kind of random in like random directions, like the jump or the 360-degree, slashers. They just happen basically. But here she definitely targets players. There are a few other minor threats in this fight, such as the ground slam or the poison puddles on the ground. I think they are pretty self-explanatory though, so I mostly wanted to highlight the more impactful abilities. I hope you liked this video. Obviously, I'm gonna try to solo Ashava again in the server slam, this time just a double 20, so let's see how that goes. I wish you good luck with your own Ashava kills, good luck with the mount trophy, and have a lot of fun in the server slam. Stay tuned for more uploads of mine for server slam and obviously launch in the coming weeks. For example, I'm gonna have some Ashava builds ready for you guys for all classes. So, see you guys next time.